care. I don't care. I don't care. I get the paper, so I don't care.
Hey everybody, I want to thank you guys for joining us again for our podcast, Let's Talk Anything and Everything with Rail.
And Wayne.
And we have a very special guest today. Her name's Antoinette. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Antoinette. I am, let me tell me a little bit about yourself. It's very complex. I am a data scientist. I am a nutritionist, a holistic nutritionist, and I help coach people to regain their health.
That's dope.
And optimal health.
Okay.
That's really what I focus on a regular basis. And I'm a mother of 3 little kids. I truly enjoy life. I enjoy dancing. I just feel like, myself. It's a whole complex system of who I am.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's real dope.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like I need to do more of my life. But yeah, it's real dope.
So we're about to get into the questions, and I think the first topic is actually a very good topic. So if you were in an apocalypse, would you try to survive or would you die immediately?
I'll try to survive.
I would definitely try to survive. I just don't know how long I would be surviving, especially in a city setting.
Yeah. Honestly, with the apocalypse.
What kind of apocalypse are we talking?
Yeah.
So
Question.
let's just say we're talking about a like people are basically either people are dying off and turning, let's just say zombies, because that's the simplest one. People are turning into zombies.
So, but the question is, would you just kind of find a way to go isolate yourself from everybody else in that apocalypse? Am I by myself? Am I with a family?
Yep. See, that's what I'm saying.
Am I with?
Yeah.
All that is going to depend. Like,
So you're
what is the surrounding between that? Am I just by myself? Am I with family? Am I with a friend,
Well,
a loved one?
Let's go with closer to what you have. Like, so for me, the very first issue I would have is consolidating my family. I have to go get my daughters, their mom. My sisters probably want to go get her dude, which would be helpful to me because I'm within the immediate area. I'm the only male in my family, so like that's that comes with its own.
I know whose house to go raid.
Good luck. Besides my dog, you know what, my dog likes you. That's not fair. That food would be a concern because if it happened right now, I'd be screwed because of the lack of food.
Lack of food.
Yeah.
Don't you have a freezer or something in the house?
Yeah, but that'll last maybe a few days.
Right.
I don't have like anything to help keep me inside for a week, especially with that many people.
Yeah. But I think there are certain kind of skills that we just naturally have to develop, or even these questions, they help us think your survival skills.
Yeah.
Do you have any seeds in the house?
Yep.
You
for
know
farming,
what I mean? For farming,
Yeah.
something that you can survive on.
Yeah.
Situation extreme like this.
Do you have the gas in your tank right now to get far enough from the country?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Oh yeah, I'm not getting nowhere.
Yeah.
I didn't stop at the gas
I
station.
got a quarter tank of gas in my truck.
Same.
I ain't making it nowhere.
Well, now let's talk about the water. Something as simple as water.
Yeah.
Recently we just had electricity issues going on here, right? And it's really affected my family.
Yeah.
And so then suddenly you're like, oh, what do I do? We don't have electricity. Where do I eat? Where do I go get things? So that's
a self-sustaining supply chain.
Yeah.
Is an immediate concern, especially because COVID showed us that.
It did.
And that was just people just getting sick.
Yeah.
And people lost their mind over toilet paper and the somehow. I still don't get how this happened, but somehow all the food, we had a huge food shortage, and I don't know how that affected the farmers so bad. Because farmers aren't really
they're not
around people.
Yeah, it's just their family and whoever may be employed on that farm. And a lot of times they live on the farm.
Yeah.
Exactly. But then they're used to that type of life, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
As we're like in the towns and close to the city, to the like the whole thing, we are so dependent on
Yep.
a lot of things,
We,
and we truly forget the essence of survival.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And when something like that happens, you just panic. Like COVID is one thing. It's everybody panics going to grab food. I'm like, toilet paper out of all things. If something truly happened, are you gonna eat that?
Is
Yeah.
toilet paper really that serious?
Right.
Plus, do you have a means to protect yourself? Because people like to act like they're good people until bad things happen.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is true. Let's go to that. What does it mean protecting yourselves? Do you have the means to protect yourselves?
Do you have, even if it's just, so my house has a big front window that is a huge, if anything like were to go down where you have to hunker down, that's a big security risk because you can just bust that open with a brick. So that's, I mean, so for me, in order to mitigate that, I have a firearm.
Right.
Just for every
Right.
day, just because I know that window exists.
Mhm.
But like if you're more of an apartment, that's less of a concern. Unless you have balconies,
Correct.
Yeah.
that's less of a concern.
Yeah.
So like how the way your house is set up, because security doesn't have to mean. I would prefer everyone have a firearm, but it doesn't have to mean having that. It could also mean knowing your area well. So if you need to get out,
100%. Because with the GPS,
Yep.
I bet sometimes when you just want to go a store from here to there, you put on GPS. But if somebody took it away, you
Yeah.
spend another
Yeah.
hour just finding that same spot. You walk
Yep.
just. It's like even know what direction. That's a skill of survival.
Yeah.
Like knowing where your direction is at, understanding what it is, and
Yep.
how to find yourself home. Like a long time ago, I bet our grandparents, they would navigate these places
Yeah.
with no worries.
They just
no-
knew everything,
They
how to get there, the
even-
shortcuts,
even
everything.
when we were kids before GPS,
Yeah.
all the adventures we would go, because that was back when we could still go outside and our parents we still had the sundown rule.
Yeah.
You know how far away I would get from the house and have to need
I would be like 5 to 6 miles away from the
Yeah.
house.
if not further.
Yeah.
If you and your boys or your group of friends were like really just on an adventurous kick,
Yeah.
plus like if you happen to hurt yourself, do you know how to get back?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because there wasn't cell phones. You know how many times I hurt myself and I had to make my way back home? And that's another thing, communication if the service goes down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Communication is definitely, that's a very good point. Communication. What is the other ways that we can train to communicate without necessarily having these phones that we're used with?
I have walkie-talkies.
Regular.
I mean, that I have kids, so like they enjoy it. But
Right.
like, I use it when we go hiking in case they get too far
Right.
and I don't feel like yelling.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
There we go.
See, but
Or
on
radios,
the average person though doesn't have walkie-talkies
and
anymore.
they're mad cheap now too. You can get basic.
So you put yourself at risk by not. I'm about to go buy some walkie-talkies.
Actually, that's a good point.
Because
We don't think about this
Yeah.
until somebody asks the question. Then that's when you start considering. It's like, oh my gosh, I don't have this, I don't have that, I don't have that.
Do you have extra stuff for your vehicle? Like a lot of people will get donuts. I personally, when I can afford it, I'll just get an extra tire. So if I get a flat, I can just throw a tire on there,
yeah.
and then I can replace the other one at my leisure. But do you have the means to do that? Do you know how to change oil? Because mechanics aren't going to be easily available to you no
that is
more.
true. That is true. That's a skill. You should spread it out to the ladies, to us.
It's like even today, a perfect example. My niece's mom called me and she got a flat tire. She was like, "I have a spare." I was like, "You have no idea how to change these." She said, "Nope."
Well, I don't know either, so I'm not gonna laugh.
So I literally went over there. I drove over there, and it literally took me about 7 minutes to change her tire. And she was like, "You're done already?" I said, "Yeah, it's a tire." I've gotten so many flats in my lifetime. It's just okay. Jack the car up, pop the tire off, put a new one on. And she was like,
Yeah, knowing how to do simple
Wow.
stuff like that. Because I had even told him, it's interesting to me how many women don't know how to do stuff like that. And I get if you're in a relationship, it's the dude's job, but at least knowing.
100%. I
Yeah.
agree with that. I cannot even comment on it. And I think we should truly encourage it.
Mm.
Because if we want to empower, there's so many things about empowering women and all those things. But there's certain survival skills, like
Yeah.
changing it. I mean, we drive cars. We're dependent on cars here.
What happens
Yes.
if you can't reach
So,
somebody or no
right.
one's available?
Exactly. I think it's a worth, spending time and just showing, ladies, you can do this, and then join other ladies, teach them one thing or two.
Fishing, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because my grandfather actually taught me how to fish, and ever since, whenever I get bored, I'll go to the lake real quick and just start fishing.
We need to do that because I was taught, but it's been so long I forgot.
I have multiple fishing rods, so we good. Hey, those are attributes for the apocalypse.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
you
what
come
I'm
into my
saying.
house. You come into my house,
So
bro.
on the apocalypse part, I don't think we're gonna be very relaxed to fish. You need some, some.
And then,
Yeah.
like for me, one of my attributes that
Good footwear. Do you have good footwear?
yeah,
That'll be super important.
is you're not about to go travel with flip flops to go take care of
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, and then make sure you have a match. Like the
Oh
fire.
yeah, yeah.
Fire.
Because if that happens, there's no more electricity. Because everybody's gonna just be mad. There's gonna be all these things. All these things we see it very easily.
Do you
There's
know
not
how to
gonna be-
make a fire?
Yeah.
Oh, I know how to make fire. Yeah, just give me a match and I know how to make fire.
Well, I mean, like as far as like with wood, like you'd be surprised how many people don't even know how to build a fire.
Oh, I know how to make fire. Oh, that one I do.
Oh.
That one I can be like, yeah, come, I'm ready for
Yeah, we still eating. We still.
Yeah.
you. Food to
It's
survive, right?
I know.
Comes to nutrition, you need food to survive.
So, a question within this question. So, have you ever basically had to basically kill an animal and basically skin it and chop it up to actually make it into
Into a food?
yes?
Yes. And that one, because I was, the reason why I have these skills is because I was born in Africa,
Okay.
Mm.
but I grew up in Europe.
Okay.
And so, but as a young kid, we used to have my grandparents' homes. They used to have kettles, they used to have
Okay.
around animals and everything. And so I did not personally kill it, but I
Mhm.
saw it happen, and then I'll take out like the chicken, right?
Yeah.
How you take, and then you just, they take out the head, and then it
Yeah.
splits, whatever it does its thing, and then you warm up water, you dump it in there, and then you take out everything that is there. So that part, and even
She's on the
open up
team.
and everything. So that part.
Hey, so we're actually
I know,
recruiting
I know.
right now. That's why that's
Well, because
So,
that's
in survival,
if
so
you
that
think
one,
about
yeah.
it, that would
Yeah.
be one of the worst skills to have to try to learn under pressure.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Because you
Oh yes.
you can easily, and I don't know how to skin it. You can easily spoil your food though.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
If you do not know what
Yeah.
part of the body, like chicken, the certain part of the body has a little green thing
Yep.
in there. Like if you mess up with that, you're not gonna eat that because
Yep.
it's gonna be very bitter.
Yep.
Into that part. So it's just by observation.
Can you imagine hunting all day?
you
Well,
just
you're gonna go back to the old times, yeah?
you're like this. So you just ruined the food for everybody.
Well, because you would have to, because at that point, morally, you'd have to decide what person you are. You could take other people's stuff.
Yeah.
Or
Like
figure out
I have
how
a
to get
like
it
so
yourself.
my neighbors, they're all older. Oh, I'm before I have to go and start deciding if I want to go and start killing animals to produce food for the people in my group or my community. They don't need all that food. They older. I'm gonna knock on their door.
With that food.
They either
Right.
gotta give it to me willingly.
I'll ask nicely the first time.
So
you need it. That's what you are.
So basically, you're saying you first go find someone else's food before you go and perch for your own food.
But I mean,
wait. So before you start, so what I mean is like I'll tell everybody, okay, look, it's a 6 ounces right over here.
Mm.
I know y'all all got freezers, deep freezers, and multiple refrigerators in you guys' houses. Let's group up because I have a ridiculous amount of skills to basically make sure that we can all eat, and I know how to stretch food and everything like that. So it's like, okay, you're either going to join us, because if I see you sitting out there just pigging out, oh, I'm rocking your whole entire refrigerator.
but also, if they're just pigging out, they're going to become a problem later. That's the thing with living in a more rural area
Yeah.
or city-like area. This was why I brought up how do you protect yourself is because people, you will see who people are.
Yeah.
That's where the true colors.
Yes.
shows
Yeah.
up in play.
Especially if they're terrible at managing their own stuff to be like when it was peaceful.
Then yeah, let's talk about that.
Because
Yeah.
if they're already terrible, if you're already terrible at managing money, your own food and stuff, with just regular stress, survival stress, those would be the first people that are probably do what you want to do. They'll ask nicely, "Hey, can I join your group?" And if you're like, "No, we just don't have the resources," all right, I bet. And now I have to keep an eye out on them. You know what I mean? Plus, that's another good thing. That's another good thing of discussion is who do you decide who's going to join your group? Because there's a few buddies, I love them.
But
you
they're
don't
not.
want to be part of it.
Yeah, nah.
That's where you become smart. You have to be smart. Just like you first think where you're going to invest your money before you do. It's the same thing. Your survival depends on it.
Yeah, but people are gonna.
So
But that's the thing. If decisions like that come with far harsher consequences in that kind of setting than normal.
Yeah.
Turning
Yeah.
somebody away,
yeah.
now they're your
yes.
enemy.
Yeah.
Oh yes. And that's something to consider. You know what? How about you just create your own space? I know it's difficult to create your own space, in that sense, because at some point you still need a community, right?
Yeah.
And if you want to thrive and survive, you still need that community that's going to be built.
Yeah.
There are those who are going to be allowed, there are those who are not going to be allowed, and that's where the protection comes in.
Yes.
That's where it's like, okay, what do I have right now that is going to protect us given this situation? So everything is just kind of balancing it out, and then once you find that essence of like, this is good for me, say sorry, I cannot help you right now. See the situation. If they're not ready to listen, you move on, because that's the survival time.
Now, what if that's someone that's like close in the family?
That's the hardest part. Family, you stick with family. What are you gonna do about it? What are you gonna do about family? Are you gonna
feel like-
touch your family because of
I feel
that?
like-
Certain family members, I would have to. I would
You
have
will
to.
have to.
If
I would
they-
literally have
Oh,
to.
really?
If they, because I have two daughters, if they threaten the ability for my daughters to survive, at that point I feel I'm duty bound to
Yeah,
cut you off.
yeah. That's absolutely understandable.
Yeah,
No one
because
is just
I have some I already know off the top of my head. I would have to literally tell them they can't come around me. Like hey, we're family. I still love you, but you got to figure this out on your own because you're more of a hindrance. Just from me knowing your personality now, you're more of a hindrance than you would be if an apocalypse happened. So now I have to basically, because say if I say, oh yeah, come on, let's just do this together. You're not gonna do anything. You're gonna basically be looking for everybody else to do everything for you, and that's just a regular everyday. And that's a hard habit for a lot of people to break. That lazy habit, especially when they're used to just manipulating people to do things for them. So
Yeah, I got a few people in mind that absolutely would not.
So it's like you have to really take in consideration of that. And for me, yes, it will be very hard because you're my family member. I grew up with you. But I also know I gotta let you go. Because if you hinder the survival of everybody here because of your inability to basically contribute, there's not really much I can do.
You know what? I think with life experience, going through many things in life, I came to understand when you're in a hardship, people that they don't necessarily respond the way we expect them to respond.
True.
Yeah.
True.
You see what I mean? Because sometimes when we have like harmony and everything, we always find a way to create chaos because we are humans,
Yes.
right?
Mm.
But when chaos is upon us, then naturally a
That is
lot
true.
of us
we
we
create harmony.
can create harmony. And I say that because I went through a war, very young kid, and so when somebody's like, "Oh, my family, I love them," I'm like, "Oh, you have no idea. Family is very crucial." And when it's in hard time, that's when now you understand the importance of keeping it together. So when we're in peace and everybody's fine, you have your home, you have your work, you have all those things. When you have everything, we always find a way to bring like chaos.
Yeah.
It's just humans. That's just who we are. But then there comes a time where Now chaos is upon us, and then we have to bring harmony. And you'll be very much surprised that even that person you're thinking you
Mm.
throw them out is the one who's making all of this about.
That's fair.
It works very strange. There are those who never change regardless.
Yeah.
There are those who never change regardless. But you'll be very much surprised how when chaos comes in place, how immediately our brain it just thinks differently.
Mm.
It just
Yeah.
I was like 4 when the Civil War started, but the growth
Mm.
just happened.
Because now
It's
you have
just-
to. You don't
yeah.
have a place to relax.
Exactly. You don't have time to be like, I don't want this, I don't want that.
Yeah,
oh,
Your
what do you
comfort
do?
is
I want
completely
my
gone.
car, I want my this. No.
I had a similar experience. I was in the military.
Yeah.
I didn't deploy anywhere, but
Yeah.
it's still a similar. Once you start going through hardship, especially as a group, I will say the bonds you make through hardship usually are
Oh yeah.
super,
Yeah.
super tight,
Very tight.
and it does make it hard to sever those bonds, even if someone isn't necessarily pulling their weight.
Mm-hmm.
Because once you've gone through hardship together, you're kind of more connected on a deeper level. I don't know. I don't have
Yeah,
the words
yeah.
to.
It's very hard to explain.
Yeah,
I totally understand it, and it's in that sense of like when it's that in the family and the people that people will think this person is gonna be, but the character you see it earlier. There are
Yeah.
people who truly
Yeah.
like regardless of what they just that's just
Yeah.
who they are. And if they're like that, you just put them aside. You know what I mean? What can you do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there are others who truly surprise you because it's a balance of things.
Yeah.
I'm not sure because I know one of the ones you're talking about for a fact. That one specifically, I don't know if he would
anything
change.
will change. at
I'm
all.
not sure. He might surprise me.
If he
might.
surprised me, that means somebody murdered me and he's stepping up.
Yeah, like he.
I got everybody.
Yeah.
I gotta be him now. I was waiting for this chance my whole life.
Yeah.
But also, how do you think in your like let's say I never made it, me and you never got a chance to link up because I'd have to go get my people. There's
Yeah.
people you care about that you'd have to get to first. How would hierarchy work? Do you think would work in your communities?
So in my communities, this sounds kind of cruel, but well, not cruel, but it sounds kind of like I just want to be the boss.
But also, it's two phrases. I forgot that the second part: hierarchy, and then my brain ain't braining right now. Responsibilities. How would you like the delegation of responsibilities?
So I personally feel I would technically have to take charge in the community that I build because,
total or on a specific thing.
no, total.
Why
And
is that?
I have, my personality naturally, I'm naturally a leader. I naturally bring people together. And I've been doing that for years. And it hit me really when one of my friends was like, well, you said you're moving out of state. You're the only reason why everybody even gets along. You're that centerpiece and you basically delegate us on what to do. And it's not like in the sense of like, oh, I'm just like a dictatorship type, like, but it's more like, I realized even with my father, me and him used to go back and forth. Now when I step into his house and he needs help with something, I typically take over it, not intentionally, but it's just like my attributes. I just naturally take over and I say, okay, this is what we need, this is what we're gonna do, this is this. And I'm good at delegating, so I'm like, okay, you're good at this. Everybody around me, I know what they're good at. So it's okay, I know you're good at this, I know you're good at this. So you focus on this, and these are the people I think that will work well underneath you because they're all basically have the same mindset as you have.
Yeah.
But I just feel like, you particularly stand out more to basically lead them in that aspect.
Yeah.
And then like with me, like I'm the chef of my whole entire friend group. So, or just, yeah, friend group, family, everything. So they come to me for any recipes, any food. They say, hey, I only got this much. You think you can make something happen with this? And I'm good at basically breaking everything down to like the smallest to the biggest portions or whatever, and even on the sense of just standard like standard things like people standing watch, people doing this. I feel I'm really good at basically getting people to, keeping people motivated, because honestly, I don't have personally nothing against you. My motivation doesn't come from other people. My motivation's always been I'm self-motivated. So for me, it's I'm going to get people to basically do things, and I've gotten people to do stuff that they said they would never do, and I've done it in the smoothest, nicest manner, and they're like, "Man, I can't believe I actually did this.
That's true.
You got me to do this."
And so, in a situation where the apocalypse is there, so do you think in a community or a society, you would be the only person capable of doing that? Or is it something, because it's a good skill to have, you definitely have a potential, and you have something that you have identified within yourself and you embrace it and you want to express it. But do you also consider that someone else somewhere can have the similar skills
Oh yes,
and
definitely.
levels of yours?
There's people that definitely. So that's where I would create a council, because yes, I don't want to look like a dictatorship. So I will have other people who I feel are very like-minded as me. So, because at the end of the day, I can't do everything by myself. I'm going to need multiple leaders, but we just have to make sure there's rules in place to stop anybody from basically being extra, doing too much.
Right.
But let's just say, for instance, you're the person that I know for a fact, okay, you can do everything I can do. And with certain people that frustrate me, you can work with them very well. Okay, let's team up. Because the whole point for me is not to have actual power. I don't want power over people. But I want to be able to basically push people to do things that they wouldn't technically do, especially in an apocalypse. That's
Check the best out of people.
yes.
Is that what it is? So that you're just able to pinpoint, like, you're excellent at this, do this, you're excellent at that, do that, in terms of direction.
Yes.
And give them instructions.
I don't want to be president or nothing.
You should be. Well, we need
You know, you specifically would have to be a hard ass first, though.
Yeah, no. I know how to switch on that. Trust me.
Not with a woman either. I'm just thinking, like, if certain people made it to you, men specific, you'd have to throw hands a few times
That's
to
fine.
prove a point.
I'm very well
Because
versed.
I know how some of them don't do well with stress, and they think there's a few that think they know better, but the only thing they know how to do is respond with violence and acting tough.
And how would you do with the people like that, knowing that's not your natural character?
It's not my natural character, but I look at it as a sport when it comes to if I ever have to basically get in any type of confrontation. Other people look at it as, oh, I'm about to rage out and fight. And me, I fought for sport when I was younger, and I'm still pretty well versed in it. So for me, it'd be just, I'm just going to teach them a lesson. And if I have to break a hand or something just to get them to understand, we're working as a group. You need to relax. And the moment they get out of pocket, I'm going to give warnings. I'm not going to just, I got to attack them, time to put them down. It's going to be, and I already know this, and there's certain, and then a lot of it's, you can win a fight without actually fighting. A lot of times
100%.
with just
100%.
knowing how to basically use your mental. It's
Gandhi
psychology.
did it, and the other people did it for a long time.
Yes.
Tone, body
Yeah.
language.
Yeah, there's a lot of the fight is not only physical.
That starts way before.
Yeah.
That's just the last line. Like,
Yeah.
everything pre-fight, pre-physical fight failed.
Because
in my
like,
experience.
because a lot of times, let's just say, for instance, a drunk person. When a person's drunk and they choose violence, there's nothing you can do besides remove them from the situation. If you can't remove them, you have to literally take the person out. And just for me, basically owning owning a restaurant, I've dealt with a lot of drunk people.
Yeah.
Sometimes the way you word stuff, the way you say it, will snap them back into reality. And then sometimes, once they're there, they're there.
I had to do that a lot when I used to work security, specifically at the casinos. Some of them you could just be nice and friendly with, and they'll be like, "Oh, my bad." Some of them you'd have to like not be harsh, but your tone would have to be firmer, like still polite, but with a kind of like talking to a child that's misbehaving.
But it's all about the mind. Once you analyze a person and see how they think, how they view the world around them, and then just meet them where they are at. You know what I mean?
A lot of
And
people
then
lack that
being
skill, though.
able-
A lot of people lack that
It
skill.
is a skill. Definitely. It is a skill. It's either you have it or you cultivate it, but nobody's born with it. There are those who can easily capture it
Yeah.
and then they just go with it. And then there are those who take time and there are those who don't want to learn.
But that's the thing, though. Like it would just so many skills it would suck to have to learn it when it's too late for it. You know what I mean? Like waiting until you have to know the use of that skill to learn the skill always sucks.
Okay. So like with all the things that we've listed, which are naturally good things to do, why do we wait for that time? What are we doing today? What are we doing today right now to really like we're getting out with the solution? Like what are we like? For instance, you say you have children. I don't think you have children. Is there any other skills that you're teaching? Earlier said, have you got an animal and then just kind of treated everything? Is it something that kid knows? Do we take them to the farm so they can experience that?
I think part of it is cultural.
Very big.
Yes.
Part of it is cultural, and part of it is the time period we live in. It's the most peace, and I'm not saying it's peaceful, but it is the most peace, especially in America, where even our poor, for the most part, there are homeless, struggling poor, but even like the majority of our poor are much better off than a lot of people. And that when you get to that point of a society, you kind of just invite not laziness, but like I can't think of the word.
Comfortability.
Yeah, because if you think of any other time period in history, you had to know something to live.
Yeah.
We don't have to. We can pay someone else to do everything.
Oh, 100%.
True.
And now the
Very
AI
true.
is here, so
Yeah.
I would say that's why.
it's really
How many people can even go on a hike?
yeah.
Like legit a full hike and not lose their breath. That's a skill.
yeah.
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 And we had that for thousands of years, where we could just
But should we stay like that and being comfortable and say it's the society, or it's also our responsibility to be aware of that and ask ourselves these good questions and start evaluating the way we think?
it's both, but on the individual, changing things on an individual level, I don't think changes society at large. Like a few people might change that, but it doesn't. You have to make it something that interests the culture at the time. Without that, it'll just be a few people. Population comparison. But
Yeah.
that's what I mean by a few. Does that make sense? Because there are plenty of people that are outdoors people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. But I just think that it's up to every kind of. I'm not saying there's nobody who's going to come and tell us change this
Yes.
and change that.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's going to be up to us as an individual in our homes
To take the initiative to actually do
to
so.
take the initiative to do so.
I agree.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah. I'm
Because-
just saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I 1,000% agree. But especially with how technology is and how much of a grip it has on how it stills the culture.
Yeah.
That only goes so far. Does that make sense?
We
Like
are truly against this. Like, this
Yeah.
it's this crash of like technology and
Yes.
everything and the things that we had easy or difficult, or some people too give too much technology to the children because they didn't have it.
Yeah.
And then is that making them stronger or weaker? So that
Yeah.
is also ourselves to
Yeah.
evaluate those situations. It's like, okay, well, at this point in time, I know we don't need it. I know tomorrow is not the end of the world. I know this is not happening. But whatever decision I'm making today, right now, for these children or my cousin or my nephew or my whoever that is, how is it beneficial to them
And
10, 20, 30
Yep.
years? We need to ask ourselves the question because there's nobody else who's going to come and ask us.
Yeah.
Plus, it's beneficial not just for the long run, just in case some stuff goes real bad, but just every day.
Everyday life.
Knowing how to change your tires from
Think a
coming
lot-
empty,
100%. Yes.
having extra batteries for flashlights, just because
Even now, just thinking about it. A lot of people nowadays, since they don't know, they're so comfortable with just basically getting somebody else to do it. Or they go to YouTube to learn if they really want to learn it.
Mhm.
But it's end of the day, if there's an apocalypse and there's no internet, there's nobody for you to call, no cellular service, nothing.
we definitely do
Now
not
you
take
basically-
advantage. We definitely do not take advantage of how much information we have readily available to us when
Mhm,
it does when
Yeah.
it doesn't matter.
Oh,
Yeah.
100%. And to that point, actually, because as a nutritionist and a health coach, that's when you come to realize how much people don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So because I meet with so many people and they tell me their story, I'm like, okay, this is what I'm glad that you're a chef. Actually, that's a great thing because people truly need to reorganize their mind and what is a priority in their life. You know what I mean? Because, for instance, I'll be like, do you know that you're deficient vitamin D or B12? Do you know that just for some reason the darker skinned people need it more than the light skinned people? in
Which I did
terms
not
of
know,
vitamin
actually.
D? And then I'm like, oh, did we? But all this information is out there.
Yeah.
The information
Yeah.
is out there. A lot of it.
It's easily available.
It's easily available, but people don't spend time
Nope.
to really educate
We like
themselves.
entertainment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's all. Oh, who did what? What did they do? I'm like, what is that adding into your essence of life? Okay. To me, if you spend time, 20 minutes, even 10 minutes, learning about who you are as a person, learning about your health, and then all the other time you spend entertaining, I'm okay with that. True,
Yeah.
because we all need entertainment, right? We are human beings.
Yeah.
Entertainment has always existed since the beginning of time.
Yep.
It's part of who we are. But first thing first, right? First thing first, because you'd be so much surprised how much other health conditions can come along just because you did not know. Oh, I need to take vitamin D. Or my B12 along.
I also think that's on purpose, though.
Things like that on purpose. What do you mean by that?
The fact, I would say 2 generations ago, our grandparents, great grandparents, even our parents grew up. They didn't grow up, but they've been alive to see technology.
Yeah. The advancement of it.
And actually use it. I think they would have loved to have what we have and would have been less worried about. They would have enjoyed the entertainment part of technology, but I think they would have been less worried about it. I think they would have cared more to have the access to knowledge, specifically just because of the times they grew up in, which I'm trying to say nicely. The generations seem to be getting dumber,
It truly is. I mean,
and we care
They become-
about
They're
less
wouldn't say-
important stuff
I wouldn't say technically
on purpose.
dumber. I wouldn't say dumber. They're basically being, unfortunately, trained
That's what I mean.
to go the easy route for everything versus, because a lot of them are very intelligent, but they don't look at anything that looks like it's a challenge. They no longer look to they deviate from even trying to take care of it. And now it's like, oh, I'll just do this because they got this program that does this for you. They got this. Yes. Like my grandmother, perfect example. She's she grew up in the South, and it was like literally, I'm gonna say right after slavery. Not slavery, but like when, because her father was actually a slave. Technology wise, she thinks technology is the dumbest thing ever. And that's a mindset from, I think, a lot of her age group would actually look at things because they're like, oh, they're just lazy. Oh, this is dumb. Why don't they just go out and do it to themselves? Why do they need this? Why do they need that? And I'm like, well, technological advances have actually helped us, but it's also been a crutch for us. But let her tell it. It's stupid. It's all stupid. Why do you need that? It's
just
dumb.
the use of it is stupid.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like how we
Everything, to me, on that point, and what I would just add on, it's when it comes to technology, when it comes to anything that can advance humanity, it's always to the hands of the user. The technology, the AI, and all those things, they're really indifferent.
Yeah.
They're truly indifferent. It's the way we use it. It's the way we choose to use it. Or it's the way we push for it to be used. Because I'm not going to deny that there's some attention or propaganda that's going certain technology.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not going to deny that. It's just, but at the end of the day, whatever technology, it's just like kind of having, let's say we have a knife. It's there.
Yeah.
But it's the way you're going to use it.
Yeah.
It's not there
Yeah.
to harm anybody. It's not there to do anything. But it's the way we choose to use it. So I cannot say that a knife is good or bad.
Yeah.
I need to cut my food so I can do it. But somebody else will be like, oh, that knife is going to be dangerous because it can kill somebody.
I think that goes back to culturally too, though, because if you were raised in technology being used a certain way,
Yeah.
it would take a lot to break out of how something is normally used.
Yeah, the habits.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that comes to even in the home. Like
Yeah.
if you do have certain ways that you do things, which breaking habits, that's what I do with like training people to eat right. Is that it's one of the hardest things because there are people, for instance, when I'm like, you're not going to have sweet candies anymore.
Yeah.
Because this doesn't serve you anymore.
Yeah.
So we go step by step. It's not one time I'm like, or there's sometimes I'm radical. I'm just like, this is not going to happen. But there's some people, it's very emotional. There's emotion involved. And if you go scientifically, it's like neurons in your brain that you've trained so many times to do things in a certain way. And then suddenly you tell them, hey, you have to deviate and go this direction.
Yeah.
Or create other lines. So you have to repeat over and over. So it's a habit, it's a repetition.
So how would you go about if you were in charge and starting getting people to start doing things to help them in the future, not just diet, but like for the question, how would you personally go about it? Like if you had that power.
So if I had that power, I would definitely I'll definitely tell them that you need to start now. Do not wait for a situation to force you. Even though humans naturally, we learn better
Under stress.
and under stress.
Yeah.
It's like for some reason we're just kind of naturally like that. But you can prepare yourself ahead of time because if you do, when that happens, when the other person is learning, you're 2 steps ahead.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're 3 steps ahead. You're that steps ahead. And that's what happens to the different culture and even the world. It's just a pattern. If you see the pattern of the world and how the world works, it's the same thing. When people are 100 years ahead of you, it's going to take you a minute to catch up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because they're still progressing.
Because they're still progressing.
And you're still trying to get to where they were.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because they're seeing everything that you basically did. Like, wow, they did that. But we're learning. You're learning. You're working your way up, but you'll never fully be there because of the fact that
By the time you get to like
where they're at that moment where you saw something that you were intrigued by, now it's they just advanced again.
Yeah, they just advanced again, but it does not mean though that you cannot catch up.
Yeah.
That is going to require a little bit of effort.
Yeah.
a lot more effort. Yeah.
A lot of more. What them they're relaxing.
I mean, that's
dancing, it's the same
every
thing.
time we have a major conflict, that's what happens.
Yeah.
The winner wins because we're superior. We have something superior technologically.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then the next between World War I and World War II, everyone kind of caught up, but then the winners from the last war, because they were the winners, they didn't
Yeah.
even have to rebuild. They were already
Working on the
Yeah,
next.
working
Yeah.
the next step while you're building up.
Yep.
It's a pattern. So it's the same thing. Stop learning now, whatever is there needed in terms of our situation. Because when that happens, it's what we'll be ahead. Don't we all want to be ahead? We do. Because we want to survive from that. So that's how I'll approach it. I'll just be like, stop learning now. Like, I'm going to start learning how to change it. You know, because I don't know how to do that.
it's just
I've
good to
seen
know, just in
somebody
case.
do it.
Yeah.
It's a good thing to know, just
Yeah.
in case. Because then when it happens, I'm ahead of that person who's gonna learn
Yeah.
there. I would have already changed 2 or 3 or 4, and my people already gone while you're still learning and figuring out at that
Yep.
time.
Yeah.
So who's gonna have the
Or
most
waiting
people?
for somebody.
Waiting
to
for
come-
somebody to come and
Yep.
save you.
And that's not only 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah. So if you don't know how to cuddle, animals and take care of it, it's time to learn that skill. You know what I mean? Find a place where you can do it in a kind of the right way. Don't just go around just,
Yeah.
get somebody else anymore and then start torturing them out. All things, if you just take time to learn now when you're not under pressure, when that pressure comes, you're always going to be there. So that's what I would do.
But everybody handles pressure different, and there are, unfortunately, a lot of people that basically become extremely standoffish, and basically seclude themselves to the point where they're scared. They let fear take over. Fear works in multiple ways, depending on the person's personality. If I know, okay, an apocalypse is happening, in my head, yes, I'm scared, but it's okay. So what do I got to do? All right, let me think. Let me get a pen and paper, start writing stuff down, and start working over my whole routine that I feel I need to start working on. But then there's also the other people that, there's different groups. With fear for them, they look for people to follow, and
Or they start doing dumb shit.
yeah.
I remember the curve, the 90-20 curve.
Yeah.
I mean, the 80-20
Well, see,
rule.
You're kind of lucky because you don't, like, you have your siblings, like your immediate family,
Yeah.
but you don't have anybody to worry about. Like, I don't mean to worry about, but like if I when I go get my kids and their mom,
Yeah.
immediately, if there might be some butting heads on what to do, which will also slow the process. Even if what I'm saying is sound,
Correct.
you know what I mean?
Initiation
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
has to happen to some extent. Yeah. That's definitely a thing.
Which can bring its own.
Oh, 100%. One can be we go left, another we go right, and that's
Yeah.
it. You're gonna spend 30 minutes. One is thinking who's gonna go where,
Yep.
who's gonna go there. That's
Wasting
all you
time.
require.
Yeah.
Especially in the beginning.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing. Well, because would you try to stay where you're at, or would you try to get out? Like if it happened, like if you're at home and the apocalypse just happened, and like it hasn't, like the effects of it hasn't really reached
I'm
you.
out.
I think I will stay for a little while because everyone's trying to get out.
It depends. When I say I'm out, it depends if I know my direction of where I'm going.
What do you mean by do you know
So let's say that,
multiple ways to get to where you're going?
exactly.
Or, okay.
So that's where also the survival of knowing your direction, which is a good skill to know. The kids, and I think sometimes just telling the two, this is north, this is south, this is south, I north, this is south, and south. It's a good skill to have. Because I know if the longer it stays, somebody's gonna come and attack me.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So if I have, and to me, I'll really stick to the basics, right? What are the things that I absolutely need to go with me? Because wherever I go, I'll find something to eat,
True.
something to
True.
survive on. But if I stay where I'm staying, somebody's coming knocking on my door. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd rather go stay in the fields, like in the nature,
Yeah.
than in a home, because I have more. If we say I have more likelihood to survive there than in a house.
See, I personally feel the opposite.
Or you
I
feel
would
the
stay.
opposite?
I would want to consolidate someplace where we can make defensible, because I know so many, like thousands upon thousands of people are going to try to make it out. So I want to see. I would wait a day or two to see what hasn't been used Like where would I
Time
not
to
get?
observe, which
Yes.
is a good thing.
Because
It's a
I don't
very
want to
good
get
thing
stuck
to-
somewhere and
Yeah.
now I'm stuck there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's more so just because of it's a thing of seeing movies, but I can see that happening where all the highways are stuck or all the main
Some
roads.
people go, but they don't know where they're going.
Yeah.
That's why I
Yeah.
need to know if I'm leaving, where am I going at? I need to know where, like, I cannot just get up and leave. Where am I going?
See, that's another thing for me, agreeing on where to go, because it's not just
Yeah.
going to be me. Like that's the
Yeah.
all of my idea of surviving at least the first week is surviving long enough where I'm at to figure out where we're going, because I already know in my head we're not going to know off rip because we're just going to be too much back and forth. So for me, I have to secure a spot for my loved ones so we can get out.
That person must be very secure because everybody's going in the house. Because if naturally humans, when things happen, they leave, right?
Yeah.
Someone goes there, someone comes up, someone does that. So whoever is somewhere else is coming to where you are.
Yeah.
As long as you have food there, they're knocking at the door.
Well, that would be my main job.
Yeah, that
But
would be.
I don't really fancy myself a leader. I will if I have to.
See, but
But
may sound-
security is my.
this may sound kind of messed up, but I just feel you're gonna have to make examples out of certain people. No matter where, if you decide to stay or go, you're gonna have to make an example of somebody, just to show what you're capable of, to basically keep people off of you. Because, say if I go, okay, I'm gonna stay here just personally, and I see people coming up from Cleveland side, I'm blasting a couple people in the head off rip, because I already see that y'all have already done certain stuff and raided everybody's houses coming up this way.
That, see, for me, I'm more, and maybe it's the military in me, I'm more selective with that because engaging first has its own problems.
It does, don't get
They
me
can
wrong.
come back.
But if I already see them coming up this way and I decided to stay, and I see what they've done to people down the street, I'm gonna.
But who do you have?
So you're going to
But
retaliate
here's-
by yourself?
That's what I mean. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's more strategy to hitting first than just hitting first. How much ammunition do you have? Who do you have that knows how to work a firearm? Is it just you? Like, I have an issue because I don't know. I'm the only male in my family that's here.
Yeah,
My daughter's mom, there are other men. I don't know where their skill sets are. I know my sister's boyfriend, he can shoot and he has stuff. I know I can count on him for stuff like that.
yeah,
But like, as far as like quote unquote warriors, I don't know what I have, so I have to move different stuff. Like, there's combat has more to do with here than your ability to actually carry out violence. That's how you think about violence. You can't just, because everything has a reaction.
oh yeah. I definitely understand that, because it's gonna cause probably a whole shit show. But if I see the people down the street, but then it also comes with, okay, say my neighbor's right here. If I use them and basically bring them aboard with me, and I find out each of their attributes, and we see that they're coming, and we know that they already chose mentally they're on violence. There's nothing else that they want to do besides come in, basically kill you and take your stuff.
Do you have an egress route?
You said what?
An egress route.
Yeah.
Do you have a
It sounds fucked up again, but I'm gonna leave everybody.
a responsible one? Do you have a lookout so violence doesn't start where your group is?
I would set that up, yeah.
But that's what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
like
I
fighting.
would,
is
I would
more-
definitely take the proper steps to basically we'll be notified off rip from the beginning, so we wouldn't even have that issue.
What does that look like to you? Because to me, I'm taking one of the houses that someone had left, and either that's going to be one of the houses, the main place. The other house is kind of like a barracks, and we'll take turns. And that's where it's kind of a lookout slash if a situation like that happens, we instigate from that house. So if they come back, they go to that house.
Yeah.
They're not going to where everyone else is.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? I don't know specifically.
So how that is looking at the people outside. Now you've created a community. You have a community where you spotted people who have skills. What if now Paris is studying within?
Well, I gotta go, guys.
You have to
I can't do this.
give me a specific.
Can't do it.
More of a specific.
So let's say, you have families, you have other males like yourself, they have their own families, and then they have that, and suddenly you start running out of food, right? And then one says, this is how we're gonna treat this whatever food, because food is really key to a lot of things. And then one family is just, it's power. Who has food has power. So and then one says, no, this is how we're gonna treat this remaining food. And these are the grains that are left. This is what we're gonna do. One says, no, we plant them. Another one says, no, we eat them. Another one says, no, we keep them. Another one says, we need to save them. Another one says, how do you handle that?
For me, it's because it's weird for me because I don't have men. If I'm not with him and like my actual group of friends, the other men that would be around are men whose respect I would need to earn. So I don't see that being as peaceful. Especially if we've gotten to the point of, if we got to that point, someone failed because we should have been planning. Once the group got together, there should have been, hey, we can at least go send some people out to go do this, go do that. And that would be the point where I would, if I hadn't already stepped up, I would have to step up and make examples of people just so I wouldn't be challenged, so we can actually do plans. Because I know what I'm good at. I'm good at security. That would be my job if I was with him. I would be setting up patrols, setting up when to go get resupplies. That's just, my brain works like that. So if we got to that point, I know someone failed and I would just have to take over until someone else I think is more qualified would have to take over or would let take over.
And would you select who's going to stay there, and who? Let's say you disagree on something. Would you separate? Would you try to solve the problem within, or
Yes.
if there's no solution for it, would you be open to say, like, this is what we're left with, you take this part, we take this part, do whatever you want to do with this, and as we're going with this, and then just plead the whole situation, or
So
would you
if-
like to bring the whole
If it was continued chaos where the group refused to work together, or whoever was in charge just kept making mistakes, and I couldn't just, this sounds messed up, I just don't know how a different way to word it, but I just can't insert my will when I know better, I would have to leave, but I would have to leave. I couldn't be close to them because if they're already messing up that many times, they're going to come for my shit eventually. Especially if I left, they're not going to see me as friendly no more. I'm assuming they might, but I'm assuming pressure on pressure.
But
They're
once
like,
that survival instinct kicks in,
Yeah.
Friend and foe are a lot alike.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, with humans, they can be your friend one minute and your foe the next minute at the drop of a dime. It's a simple
over little
disagreement.
stuff.
Yeah, a simple disagreement can change the whole structure and outlook of whatever you set in place, because unfortunately, we as humans are extremely petty.
In a perfect world,
Very
I would
much
get
so.
my loved ones and meet him somewhere or have him come to me because I know in our group we already know what our roles are. Like there might be some outliers and surprises, but like it would fall into a natural pattern because we know what each other's strengths are. I would not prefer, like if I went with my daughter's mom's family, I would not prefer that because I don't know them like that. Like we're not close.
Is that enough for you to
Yeah.
know what the outcome would be in that situation? It's a very complex situation, but it's good to think about.
Yeah.
Definitely. I personally, if it comes, I'll just leave it through. Yeah, yeah.
I think we spent enough time in that conversation, so we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be right back.